the top, baby, don't stop. You can have it. You can have it all. Let's go to the top, baby, don't stop. Love, joy, peace. Good life and family. We'll win success. Let's go.
Welcome to the Joel Tankard Show today. Listen, if you are married, happily married, sad you married, you need to sit, listen to this one. The topic is, what do you do when your spouse calls it quits? By Nate and Monica Ware. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to the Impact Network and its founders, Apostle Wayne T. and Dr. Beverly Y. Jackson, for now becoming the only African-American founded and operated international Christian TV network, bringing the gospel to Africa, including over 40 countries and 900 million viewers. We salute you.
Welcome back to the Joel Tankard Show right here on the Impact Network. Today's millionaire's tip is make sure that you have more than one savings account. Okay, so let's break that down. What do I mean by that? You know, when you were growing up and, I don't know, maybe your church was like mine growing up. I went to my grandmother's church and they had a local credit union. And she said, baby, make sure you always have a savings account at the credit union. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Even though that's a good idea, but understand that if you're saving money, whatever you're saving money for, it needs to have a destination. For example, if you're saving money because you want to purchase a new home and you need a down payment and closing costs and, you know, title fees, well, that could be a savings account for that. But then it doesn't need to be your savings account and retirement all in one. I mean, I've heard more than one person say on occasion that, yeah, I have a good retirement account. It's all in my savings. No, a savings account was never meant to produce compounded interest. I mean, just call your bank and you'll find out you're probably not even getting 1%. So that means that your savings account more than likely is not even keeping up with inflation. So that means that if you're looking for it to grow your money long term or to be able to eventually live off of the interest of your money, which is what I really like to help clients do, is get to the point where you can live off of the interest of your money for retirement. That's not the purpose of a savings account. So you may say, hey, this savings account is for the down payment, or I want to pay off my car, I want to buy a new car. In other words, all of your savings accounts should have destinations. It should only be used for liquidity. It should not be used to build actual wealth, because you can't do that if you're not even making 1%. So just understand that the purpose of a savings account today, now of course in my grandmother's time it was different, but for today, is simply it should have a point of destination. You should have goals to it, and you know, saying I'm saving this amount of money for this amount of time to pay down a house or anything like that. But remember, a savings account is not the same thing as a retirement account. So that's it for Millionaire's Madness today. All right, now it's time for Financial Watch. In the news today, let's talk finances and marriage and a helpful tip for couples. In U.S. News, did you know marriage has had a history of decades of troubled marriages, with about half of those unions ending in divorce. For the 70% of people that will be married at some point in their life, the best financial advice for a successful marriage is to talk openly about money. That's right. Even before you get married, because you want to find out what those ideas and opinions are and make sure they line up with your core values. Define shared goals, share costs, stick with a financial goal or plan, agreeing on long-term asset purchases, and then respect each other's money skill. Okay? So that's it today on Financial Watch.
Congratulations to the Impact Network and its founders, Apostle Wayne T. and Dr. Beverly Y. Jackson, for now becoming the only African-American founded and operated international Christian TV network, bringing the gospel to Africa, including over 40 countries and 900 million viewers. We salute you.
Impact is digital.
Social.
Impact is fearless.
unafraid to speak the truth in love, committed to be a voice for those who have no voice, and ready to listen. Prepared to stand up for what is right, no matter the consequence, working to correct injustice, whether political or social. The Impact Network, for the spirit, soul, and body. Impact is yours.
Impact is digital.
Impact is liberating, presenting life in its fullest and releasing your greatest potential, uncovering your purpose and your destiny, bringing spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, and financial empowerment so you're free.
Welcome back to the Tankard Show, and I'm here with Nate and Monica Ware. Woo! Hey guys, listen, I am super proud of you that you guys, because it takes a lot of courage to talk about vulnerable areas, but I know that this show today is really going to help married couples. And because interestingly enough, this is like such a true story. Literally not even 48 hours ago, we had a family member call Ben and I and say, I'm done. I'm done. I'm filing for divorce. We were like, whoa, you know. But I think that, you know, that title, I know when you first heard it, you were like, why we gotta call it that? I'm like, because you know how many married people probably at some point say, I'm done with you. And if they can hear somebody's story, so I mean, you guys have been together over 27 years. We know it hasn't always been roses. You've had your ups, your downs, your turnarounds, your split ups, and then gotten back together, but God. And so I want to first tell me, how old were you all when you got married?
Well, I was 20 when I got married, sophomore in college.
And I was 21 when we first got married.
Oh, that's so cute. Y'all just 1 year apart. Yes, okay. Okay, so why did you decide to marry so young? Because you were in the military, right?
Yes, I was in the military. So I got married young because I wanted someone who I would grow old with. So I just want someone, you know, Monica was the right person for me. I knew the first time when I held her in my arm that she was the one for me. She said it was lust, but I said it was lust.
Oh, you said it was lust?
You said it was lust, but it was love. It was love.
It was lust.
Oh, that is so cute. Okay, so since you got married so young, did you feel prepared for marriage? I mean, did you have anyone growing up to show you what it meant to be a wife?
I did not. You know, I love my mother. She was a huge supporter. She supported me in anything, but she didn't properly prepare me. Like, I didn't know how to cook. I knew how to clean, but I would say she just, you know, I had a two-parent home, but that was it. I did.
So you did have a two-parent home?
I did. Yeah, and I watched them, but I still didn't learn. You know, I learned that my mother supported my father 100%. Okay. Even in the dirty. Okay. You know, because she stayed. But she was a huge supporter, and so that's what she taught me.
So I got to ask, because if you had a two-parent home, it was demonstrated she was a great supporter of her husband, your father, even when things weren't good. Mm-hmm. What else do you think she could have done? I'm just curious because, you know, raising girls, even though my girl's pretty much grown, but I'm always trying to impart to them, you know, do this, this is how you need to be thinking. What would be an ideal thing for a mother to do to raise her girl to be prepared for marriage?
To me, I wish she would have communicated with me more. We talked about other things, but we didn't talk about marriage. Even when my husband and I were going through, she stayed out of it. So
she didn't want to say anything.
Right. I wanted tips. I needed to know what to do, and she stayed neutral.
Don't you think that's that kind of that old school?
Old school.
Oh, that ain't my business. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I need your mentorship, dude. Talk to me.
Right.
So she stayed out of it. So did you have anybody that you could look to, Nate?
I would say for me growing up, each time I was in a single parent home. So for about when I was in the 6th grade and younger, I stayed with my mom. She was a single parent then. And then when I was in 7th grade, I went to live with my dad. So one thing my parents taught me by their actions was to work hard. So that I knew. As far as being a husband and a father, my dad really never sat down with me and gave me husband 101. So I didn't have that in my life. So I didn't know what it meant to be committed to marriage. So I just knew to work hard to pay the bills and make sure that there's food on the table. So that's what I knew growing up.
So watching your dad, do you feel like you kind of got subconsciously it gets tight, go?
I know that my dad, he worked a lot and he partied a lot. from what I seen from him, you know. So,
Gotcha.
and he was a womanizer as well too. So,
Gotcha.
and that's what I saw from hearing from my brothers and my sisters, you know. So I knew to work hard, but I never knew why they split up. To this day, I still don't know why, but I just knew that things didn't work out, you know, and they split.
Got you. And so, do you feel like from your mother that she tried to instill things in you that would prepare you for a husband or father?
No, but Mom did teach me about the Word of God. So one thing, we went to church whether we wanted to or not, because Mom went to church, everybody went to church. So one thing I think my mom prepared me for life was, hey, you know, we're going to church, and she taught me how to have a relationship with God and then how to read the Bible.
And how to read the Bible. So when did you guys start having issues in your marriage? Was it a year after, several years after? I would say probably a year into the marriage. Probably maybe had issues before, probably came to life a year afterwards. Even though Monica was the right person for me, even though my parents loved me, I grew up not feeling love. So all my relationships were those to fill the void that I had inside of me. Gotcha. And then I felt Monica wasn't giving me what I needed, so I went to look for that somewhere else. Got you. So you felt like it was more, so was it more physical or was it more emotional?
I would say a little bit of both, but mainly emotional. I mean, Monica's a great person. I guess growing up, my idea of a great husband was from what I've seen on TV.
Gotcha.
You know, from what I expected, the wife's supposed to be this, the wife's supposed to be that, and be that great support. And even though she supported me, but she wasn't supporting me the way that I felt.
And I think this is so huge, because actually, Nate, I'm so glad you said that, because I've heard that, I mean, with a lot of couples and a lot of men, I don't feel like I'm getting what I need from my wife, which I guess for you then was a reason you were justified, so to speak, to say, okay, let me go get it from somewhere else. So you obviously fell into an affair because you were trying to find fill that void.
Correct. And growing up, and I didn't get a lot of attention. You know, I was the nerd guy. You know, voted least likely to get a date. You know, so as I got older, you know, people started drawing attention. You know, giving me attention and give me something that I didn't get.
He got some swag.
So when I started getting that attention, you know, commitment went out the window and emotion stepped in. So now this person may give me what I may need and what I want.
Because now you're getting this attention, and I think this is huge, because this is what I see a lot with celebrities. You know, men going from not being known, all of a sudden they're known, and now they're getting all this attention. What was your response? Obviously, you found out that he had stepped out of the marriage. I want to know what your response is. We're about to go to break, so we're going to hear this. And I think this is going to help a lot of people. You can't go out, step out of the marriage just because there's a void, but sometimes we got to figure out how to fill that void. So we'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours.
Dr. King, what's your next move?
A march from Selma to Montgomery.
Selma is loud for every man, woman, and child.
We will not wait any longer.
In front of a crowd.
Mine eyes have seen the glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Impact is different.
Impact is community, where differences in background, color, culture, and thinking unified to provide solutions and spark innovation. Where thinking different makes you distinct and not an outsider. Where when a neighbor is weak, another comes in strength. The Impact Network.
All right, welcome back to the Tankard Show right here on the Impact Network. We left right in the middle of the juice. So let's go back. So this Negro steps out. I know you got to have an attitude.
Oh my gosh.
I want to know, what were you thinking?
Let me tell you, Dr. Jewel, I went beyond bitterness.
Okay.
Anger, bitterness, all of the above. And I had such a hatred. I literally had hatred in my heart for him, because I had never really experienced anything like that. And when we first got married, I was in la la land, because I really believed, oh, we're married now, and you know, no infidelity, and it's going to be perfect. And I was so wrong.
Yeah.
And so I had this hatred in my heart for him, and I went to my mama. I went home.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay.
Yeah.
There was no real reason or justification why it happened so early in the marriage, for me anyway.
Right.
And so I went home to my mama.
So and your mom at this point, I think you said, was not really giving you any advice.
Right.
She just supported you whether you stayed or went. She didn't try to encourage you either way.
Right.
She didn't encourage you to try to do counseling, talk through it, nothing.
No.
Nate, what are you thinking at this time? Your wife leaves. I know you got to be hurting.
I was hurt. I mean, when you get into the spiral of focusing on yourself, and that's what I was doing, focus on my needs, what I was not getting, and not focusing on what she needed. I was like, man, I messed up the marriage, I messed up the family, I became the man that I did not want to become, because growing up, my parents were divorced, and I blamed myself, even though I had nothing to do with their divorce, but now I became the man that I did not want to grow up to be. So it was hurtful. I'm messing up my family, that's what I look at, and I didn't really realize that I had hurt her, until like I went to counseling. About my situation, and my pastor asked me, why would you want to hurt Monica? I'm like, I never thought of it that way. I was only focused on me. I was only focused on getting what I was not getting, and then so when he said that, I was like, wow, how did it happen? And I think that for me, I was still trying to work on my relationship with God. Especially after the last time, because we went back and forth, trying to work things out, not working things out, and then the last time when we split up, I was stationed in Germany at the time, and she living her life, I'm living my life, and I'm still trying to get things right with God, and one night I'm praying to God, crying out to him. He's like, everything you need in a woman, you already have in Monica. And I'm like, no, that's not true, God. Remember this, remember that, remember that. I'm like, that can't be, and one of the things that stuck with me is Gideon. I remember how reading about Gideon, and when he told God, if you want me to do this, let the fleece be dry, and the next day let the fleece be wet. So I was like, God, if you want to go get my wife, when I go to church tomorrow, you let somebody tell me. So, and I went to church, and went to Sunday school, and the minister prayed, and they was like, God's going to do a miracle for you. And I was like, God, that's not it. That's not specific enough. But then I went for the service, I went for prayer, and I had it my own way. Okay, I'm gonna get my tour cut short, then I go back to the station. So that's what I'm for prayer for, trying to do it in my own way. And as the minister was praying, my pastor stood up and he said, everywhere I go, my wife is always there with me. Son, you need to go get your wife. I'm like, hey God, that's it.
Wow.
I'm out. And I ain't had no money. I had just came off leave, so there was no way for me to get leave. So, but I went back, and God kept opening up doors, because once I was obedient, He made provisions.
Wow, powerful. So you were bitter, you had hatred in your heart, he's coming back to get you. Did you ever at any point say, I'm going to get him back and step out too?
I did, okay. Because I was trying to fill a void.
Right.
And early on, I felt like if he could do it, I could do it too.
Okay. Did you know this?
I didn't know, and I knew before she knew that I knew, and then and that kind of made it worse.
Okay.
It's not really. I don't blame her for doing what she did, but it's like, okay, so I'm not already getting what I need. Now she's getting it somebody else. Right. So now that was like justification for me, to still hold that in, and the next opportunity, I can take that opportunity. So it was a spiral, and then it wasn't until we came together to start working on, okay, this is what you did, this is what I did.
I think the fact that you guys have been married 27 years, that just I'm full with that. I think that because there's so many couples who don't make it past one step out.
Right.
So you had multiple times where you all were in affairs, both of you.
Well, this is how I like to balance it out. And I know he'll probably say something, but I like to say my 1 to his 100.
Okay.
It was that crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, for me it was just the once, because I just had that bitterness.
So when he came back for you, what were you thinking?
Well, when I got the phone call, no, I'm not down with this.
Yeah.
You know, I hear what you're saying. You're telling me God said. Yeah.
You're like, what was God saying then?
Yeah.
Right.
And I felt like, you know, we've done this before. I was in Germany before and decided to leave. So I was not down with trying to do it again. And I still had some anger, you know, but for me, I took a chance because I wanted to try one more time to put my family back together.
Because you still loved him.
I still loved him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did.
and so you said, let me do this one more time. Mm-hmm. You guys got back together. Was it peaches and cream? Was it difficult?
No, it wasn't peaches and cream. It was difficult. I think because before we trying to do it in our own power and our own might. So with that in mind, I mean, we was doing what we felt was the best thing to do, and it didn't work out. We still had some isms that we had to work through. I believe that we had great mentors at that time. We got together last time. We got some godly counsel, you know, some things that I had to step up to the plate to be a better man, you know, so I could be the husband I need to be and the father I need to be for her and for the boys. So, and then, you know, it's still sometimes, you know, struggles come, but we decided, one, to work on our relationship with God, which allowed us to work on our relationship with each other.
Absolutely. That's so good. So your relationship with God put a holy conviction in you to, hey, even if I don't feel like I'm getting from what I need from her, I can't going with somebody else is just not an option.
Correct. And I'm telling Monica, you know what? I'm not going to try to be committed to you anymore. I'm going to be committed to God.
Ooh.
So if I'm going to be committed to God, then you get to reap the benefits because now my focus is on serving Him.
That's so rich. That's so rich.
That's good.
And so, and you saw, she like, that's good, baby, yes. No, but I think you're absolutely right. You know, you make a decision in a marriage, I love my spouse, and I don't cheat just because I love them, but it's because I have a covenant with God first, and I want to make sure that I'm doing what's honorable, you know, for Him. And certainly now God is using you guys in major ways. You posted your story on Facebook, and I mean, got tons of hits and reviews, and I mean, that's huge. And now you all are both, you know, beginning to walk into your purpose. You've got a CD project out. You've got a magazine, you know, that's out. Be You Girl. I mean, you're traveling all over the country, you know. So talk to me a little bit. I want to hear both about your, Dr. Ben said this was off the chain, by the way, and so they need to get this. But talk to me about, I want to hear about both of your projects and how did you guys get to the point where you're now able to kind of walk in your dream? Was it hard for you supporting her initially, Nate? Because she travels a lot.
Not at all. So first of all, my kudos to Monica because in being in the military, I mean, she had to put up with a lot. Forget about me being stupid, but just the military in itself, traveling, you know, constantly on the go. I would get calls in the middle of the night, not knowing where I was going when I was coming back.
You like the Secret Service or something?
Not necessarily Secret Service, but that was the type of unit that I was in.
Oh,
so
wow.
it takes a special spouse to support somebody in the military.
Wow.
So when I felt that she supported me, even though I may not be getting everything I was needed, but she was there for me, you know, coming out, coming back in. So it's easy for me to support her now because I'm like, she did all that for 20 years. The least that I could do is support her now and everything that she's doing.
Can do. That is so good. So now tell me some of the places that you traveled to, because you're traveling literally all over the country. Talk about some of the celebrities that you've been able to interview and finding your place. So on red carpet events, I mean, Ben and I have seen you places. Oh, look at over there.
Oh, God has opened so many doors. I've been personally invited to do Oprah events, so it probably about 3 events that I've covered, and I've gone to LA to cover one of her events, Atlanta and Miami, and then also in Miami. I'm a huge Miami Heat fan, so it was an honor to attend Dwayne Wade's Run Wade event, his fashion event every year, and I hope to be going back again this year. So those are just a couple of amazing events that I've attended. Mega Fest, of course, A Woman Thou Art Lose, things like that.
That is so awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Not to mention the NBA. I love covering the NBA, so that's another.
Oh, that is so good. I get so tickled when Ben and I are on the red carpet. We out there, you know, doing pictures and interviews. I'm like, that was Monica. That is awesome. So Nate, your dream with being a recording artist, you have a beautiful voice, you got your CD out. How did that come about? And did you feel like Monica supported you in that?
She did support me. She always listens to the songs and she gives me her input, you know, what she think, you know, how I can change it, how I make that better. For me, I've been singing since I was 6 years old. When I was growing up, my mom used to have the kids sing, now the Ware children, whether we want to sing or not, and we had to sing well. If we didn't, we wouldn't get a snack, or we weren't going to McDonald's after the service. So, and writing became as I had a relationship with God. I was writing secular songs to get over relationships growing up, but once I started writing Christmas music, Christian music is when I started a relationship with God and be more intimate with Him, worship. I'm more of a worshiper, so my songs are an outward expression of how I worship God privately.
Wow! Oh, I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all are doing so good. So listen, you need to have a marriage conference. You know, I know we'll probably be doing something soon together, but I think you guys are an amazing example. Don't stop sharing, because your story is powerful. And I really want to thank you for coming on today and laying it all out. And ain't no more cheating no more. Hallelujah. Come on. With a shout. Hallelujah. So if you're married, there's hope. All right. Thank you so much. All right. It's time for Reality Watch. Woo, let's see. Let's talk about Kendra Wilkerson, former girlfriend of Hugh Hefner, and her husband, former NFL player Hank Basket, on Marriage Boot Camp. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You all remember when the scandal came out about Hank being caught on tape having sex with a transgender woman. Well, this couple chose to stick it out and stay together, but they are struggling big time on Marriage Boot Camp because Hank isn't being open and transparent about what led him to cheat in the first place. So this is, you know, I think this really speaks to communication. I love what Nate and Monica shared. I mean, they were open about, hey, this is how I got over here. This is why I cheated in the first place. This is how I got here, so that they could begin to hopefully meet one another's needs. And I think that, you know, I'm not sure why Hank is not opening up about it. Obviously, it's something he feels very ashamed of and something that is very embarrassing for him. I guess what I would have to say to married people is when your spouse shares something that's very fragile to them or vulnerable to them, we got to make sure that we, you know, are not like, that's stupid, or laugh at them or disrespect them, because you want your spouse to be able to totally open up to you and really share what it is that they need and what they want. I remember one day we were going somewhere, and you know, Dr. Ben loves me in heels all the time, and I was wearing flats. He's like, honey, when you come up on stage, can you put those heels on? I was like, okay, baby, you want me to see me in heels? But the point is I want him to be able to share with me whatever it is that he wants, and I want to be able to share with him. So remember that communication and transparency, even if you don't like it, or even if it hurts, in the long run, it's going to help you to have a healthy, successful, functional marriage. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Jewel Tankard Show, and until next time, remember, you can have it all.